ERC-404. I call this one the dual personality. It is an ERC-20 token, but also an ERC-721. How's that even possible?
Net to dev.
Well, that is the beauty of this token, which by the way is something that is still experimental at this moment. But what is interesting about this token is that if you buy the full token, you will obtain ERC-721 NFT, a non-fungible token. If you buy fractions of the token, you are going to receive ERC-20. Unless I buy a full token, I am not going to receive an ERC-721. What is happening behind the logic of this token? Very interesting, and let me tell you, very clever. As I was reverse engineering the entire contract to see how this was working, it is very clever, I'm gonna say. Simple as determining how much ERC-20 tokens do I have? How many fractions do I have from the ERC-20 token? So then I have an ERC-721. If I have less than one, I am not going to have an ERC-721. How do we make that happen on the contract? We burn and we mint, and we burn and we mint, and we burn and we mint. That is the logic behind the ERC-404. It's that moment when that transaction is being executed, I will be either burning or minting the destination token. Simple as that. What you're going to see, if you take a look at some of the projects that are already built using the ERC-404, it's not a standard, it's experimental, but there's already projects. First project that built this experimental token is Pandora token, the Pandora token. If you take a look at the block explorer and you take a look at that smart contract, what you are going to see is something very clever. The NFT ID will keep increasing, while the token supply, the total supply, is going to remain at 10,000 tokens. Why? Because I have to destroy, or I have to burn supply from either token to keep the 10,000 tokens that were minted when we deployed the smart contract. I have to make sure that if I issue an NFT, an ERC-721, I burn the excess ERC-20. That's clever. And it needs to happen when there is a transaction to exchange those two tokens. When we exchange the ERC-721 for an ERC-20, let's say we want to convert this token from an ERC-721 to an ERC-20, I must hold less than one token. Remember, this token, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it has dual personality. It can be an ERC-20 or it could be an ERC-721. The difference is which kind of token are you going to hold in the wallet will be determined by the amount that you're holding. And let's call this token the net to dev semi-fungible rewards, N to the R. Okay, so let's say I hold one N to the R. I'm effectively holding one NFT, one ERC-721. If I hold 1.3 N to the R, I am holding one NFT and 0.3 ERC-20 tokens from the same token smart contract. The magic is happening on the transfer function. What we can see in the transfer function is the following. Holding this amount, let's say you're holding 1.3 N to the R tokens on your wallet, or you are about to hold that. What I'm going to be doing is I am going to be burning the excess, and I'm going to be holding the tokens that you are entitled to, or you bought or you acquired. Let's say we have two full N to the R tokens. Well, that means that I'm not going to have fractions of the token, which means I'm not going to have ERC-20 tokens. I will be having two full ERC-721s. That's the logic behind the ERC-404. It's the action that during the transfer, if you're not holding one full token, you're not going to have an NFT. However, if you are holding a full token, you have an NFT. I could be selling ERC-20s less than one NFT, and you'll get 0.99 ERC-20 tokens. We are going to supply a maximum amount of 10,000 NFTs. If you look at the block explorer, you are going to realize that the NFTs IDs are increasing, are going way above the 10,000 maximum supply. Why is that? Remember what I told you at the beginning of the video. If I decide to sell the token, I decide to sell the ERC-721 in exchange for my other token. Let's say I'm selling it for USDT. I have to burn that token, which means that that ID has been burned. The logic behind the smart contract is that I'm going to have a variable in state that will be increased with the amount of NFTs that I'm minting. That doesn't mean that I have 60,000 NFTs minted. No, that is for me a counter to know which ID am I going to be minting the NFT next. I still have to burn the NFT. I have to make sure that I don't go above the 10,000 maximum supply. So the moment I exchange that NFT for ERC-20, for other cryptocurrency, I have to burn that ERC-721, and I have to keep an ERC-20 token because that's the token that will be traded in a DeFi exchange. The moment that token goes back onto a DeFi pool smart contract, which is the smart contract that is going to hold the token, the moment it goes there, I have to make sure that I do that conversion, that I burn the NFT and that I mint the ERC-20. Let's say I don't want to sell the entire NFT. I want to sell fractions of it. And we know a non-fungible token means we cannot modify the properties of that token. If you decide to fractionize the NFT, you no longer hold the NFT. So we have to what? We have to burn it, and in exchange, I'm going to give you ERC-20 tokens. As we know with NFTs, they must have metadata because the NFT probably is going to have properties that will make the NFT non-fungible or exclusive, right? When we deploy ERC-721s or 1155, we provide a token URI that is basically the path to the metadata, and inside that metadata file, which is a JSON formatted file, we'll have a path for an image. Let's say the NFT will have an image, we'll have that information. The problem now is the following. Those IDs are just going to increment. As we know, we are burning the token, we're minting the token, we're burning, which means that the IDs are just going to keep increasing. Still the same amount of NFTs, but we have to burn it, we have to mint it in order for us to keep the 1-to-1 ratio to the total balance or the total supply of that token. Why I'm telling you this? I cannot provide the metadata file, or I cannot upload that metadata file beforehand because we're not going to know how many NFTs IDs we're going to have. This is just going to keep increasing. It's not going to be feasible to just upload 50,000 metadata files onto IPFS because we're going to have a range from 1 all the way to 50,000. Well, let's say we crossed over 50,000. Those NFTs no longer have metadata because we don't have files in IPFS to back the token URI. So there's no data stored in IPFS reference that NFT to the metadata. How the hell are we going to get away with keep minting new IDs but still have metadata available to that NFTs? We have to store the metadata on the smart contract. And you will say, whoa, that's gonna cost a lot of money, a lot of gas fees because storage on the blockchain is expensive. No, very clever. And that smart contract, what I was able to see is that we are not storing any data. We are generating the metadata every time an ERC-721 gets minted. Why? Because we already give a function with all the string values, and all we are going to do as the smart contract mints needed NFT 721 is going to randomly pass the values and generate that metadata out of the smart contract. We are going to be building the JSON structure as strings on the smart contract using the OpenZeppelin string library. What I'm going to do, the only thing that I'm going to be importing will be the token ID. How's that even possible? Well, I am just going to put a static string. We're going to be storing that static string on the smart contract. And as I'm calling the function to obtain the data URI, and this is the name, the data URI, I am going to be passing the ID of the NFT. And because this is a view function, all I'm going to be obtaining in return is the JSON format output. No different than when we do a GET API request to IPFS to obtain the metadata. All we're doing, instead of going to IPFS, we are doing the RPC call to the smart contract to obtain that information. It's just a view function, the same way as we do to obtain the balance of a wallet from a smart contract. No different. We are building that metadata and we're showing that metadata to the user as we call that function. Okay, so that's going to be very awesome, and it's very curious to see that type of implementation on a smart contract because now you don't have to deal with the IPFS sense of storing the metadata files. At least you still have to store picture files. If the application of the NFT will involve having to store images, you need to have a decentralized immutable file protocol like IPFS. We are going to be working with Uniswap, so we are going to be deploying the ERC-404 smart contract, and we are also going to be building a pool smart contract in UniswapV3 position that will allow us to put a price to that ERC-404. The moment I want to sell that NFT, I am going to head into the swap interface and I am going to proceed to sell that NFT. The moment I execute that function to sell, Uniswap is going to ask me to approve. What is going to approve? We have to allow the swap interface to approve to withdraw the ERC-721 any fractions of the ERC-20 that we have on the wallet, which means that moment on, the Uniswap protocol is going to grab that token, going to remove it from the wallet, and it has to go over the ERC-404 function because what is being called is the function inside the ERC-404 smart contract transfer function. In that moment on, I am going to be burning the NFT. I'm going to be issuing full ERC-20 tokens onto the swap. You're not buying the NFT, you're buying the fraction, which means that if I'm holding one full NFT, I have to burn that NFT because I'm no longer in possession of the full NFT. If I bought 50% of the token, the Uniswap pool will keep 0.50 and I'm going to give you or 0.50. I have to determine how much is the user transferring so that I can either issue the full NFT or half in ERC-20. Here's the amazing application on this. If I am fractionizing the NFT, I have to burn that NFT ID. So if we hold NFT ID 405, if we hold that NFT and we decide to fractionize that NFT, that number 405 will cease to exist. So there's not going to be any more ERC-721 with the ID of 405. We're not going to have an NFT with ID 405 ever. Why? Because the mint function just going to grab what's the next ID to mint the new one, which makes the NFT even more valuable from the ID perspective, because it's going to be more exclusive. If you're holding a low ID, that means that you have never ever fractionized that NFT, and you're holding one of the first NFTs on the contract. That NFT could be worth way more than the newer or the higher ID numbers. That's another great use case for the NFT. First part, we are going to be building the smart contract. We are going to be reviewing the entire smart contract. We'll deploy the smart contract, and you are going to see how is building the metadata on the fly. Then finally, we will build the Uniswap pools. We will set the price, the positions to sell the NFTs or sell the ERC-20. We'll provide that liquidity. Then we are going to be able to sell this token. Alrighty? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.